it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, September 19th. So welcome to Monday, Moon Day, where the moon is in her place of power in Cancer energy. This is a water sign. We are definitely emotional. We are highly intuitive. We want to stick to the same old, same old. We want comfortability. We want safety, security, and we're a little bit defensive, a little bit protective, if you will. We definitely are going to see where our boundaries are getting tested, where maybe new ones need to be created and implemented in order to protect ourselves. We will also be learning lessons on where it is that we've been overextending ourselves to other people and not reserving enough energy to pour back into ourselves, making sure that our cup is filled to the brim before we go ahead and start sharing our energy and power with other people. There are 11 different aspects here today, and 9 of them involve the moon. Mercury retrograde in Libran energy is going to be bumping into Saturn, Mr. Karma himself, who is also retrograde in Aquarian energy. This is definitely going to have a little bit more of a negative narrative than we would prefer, but for good reason. Mercury, of course, in Libran energy is trying to find happiness and peace and joy and balance in our relationships and in the power exchanges in our relationships. And although it may be hard to come by because, of course, we have to sit in the extremes in order to realize where balance is actually needed, Mr. Saturn here is trying to show us where in the past we sacrificed our own wants, needs, and desires to do what we thought was best according to other people, what other people expected of us, and of course, where that actually got us. Now, the Libran energy, the Aquarian energy, they're both air signs, so this is going to be a mental plane issue. And out of this little cluster F of the back and forth of where it is that, you know what, we can't be too resentful towards other people when we gave all of our power away to them in the first place. So really, who's to blame? This particular energy, although it is going to create a little bit of a negative inner dialogue and a little bit of a tension and a conflict within us, is going to illuminate for us where it is that we have to build new boundaries, new systems, new routines, new foundations, new structures in our lives on how it is that we are going to conduct ourselves from here, making sure that we are operating from a place of happiness and wholeness, a place of a full cup before overextending ourselves to other people. The moon is going to bump into Saturn shortly after. This is a positive aspect, which means that we're really starting to get in touch with the boundaries that we didn't have in the past that led us down some very, hurtful paths with some people because, of course, we gave all of our power away. We weren't operating from a full cup. We weren't happy and healthy ourselves, and instead we threw ourselves into other people's lives and other people's business, thinking that we were helping when really we were probably interrupting their karma. And therefore, we've learned that lesson. We understand what it is that we have to change about ourselves. And the moon being in Cancer energy, kind of blending its energy, its power with Mr. Saturn, this is a good opportunity for us to realize where it is that we need to nurture ourselves, take care of ourselves. What can we build in our lives right now with routines, foundations, and systems that would provide us with an opportunity to take care of ourselves first before we go ahead and start taking care of other people. The moon is going to bump into the sun in a very positive way, which would suggest, again, keep in mind, we are still in Virgo season. The sun shines a bright light on the problems in order for us to fix them, also shines a bright light on what it is that we have to do in our own lives to build a daily routine in order to make sure that we're having the time to spend on balancing the mind, the body, the soul equation. The moon, of course, in Cancer, just wants to take care of ourselves, wants to take care of those that we love. We're very introverted. We're all about the family unit. We just want to help. And that's exactly what the Virgo energy wants us to do as well, except the illumination between the moon and the sun is the present moment where we realize where we gave too much of ourselves away in the past and where it is that we're not going to do that anymore, because the sun in Virgo is showing us where it is that, service to ourselves first and foremost has to be at the top of the list before we're going to be of service to other people. We have to realize that when we are not operating from a full cup, that those that we love are not even getting the best of us. So why do that? Why go ahead and operate from a half-assed full cup, and then the people that we love, that we are thinking that we're taking care of, they're not getting the best of us in the first place? So literally, what is the point? This is going to shine a bright light on where it is that we do have to come up with some solutions on how it is that we're going to make the time for ourselves first and foremost, in order for us to make sure that we are as happy and whole as possible before we start giving our time, energy, love, and attention away to other people. The moon is going to sextile, which is a beautiful energy, with the true node. The true node is our soul's path, our destiny's point, the path that we need to be on to reach our soul's mission, our soul's potential, our soul's purpose. And a sextile means that we are having some aha moments. We are blending these energies together. Emotionally speaking, we know what we have to do when moving forward. Intuitively speaking, we are getting insights and gut reactions on what it is that we have to build for ourselves in the future, of course, in order to take care of ourselves, to be our best selves, to take care of those that we love. And because of this, we're gaining another puzzle piece. We're seeing a little bit more of this puzzle that we've been actively trying to piece together. And again, may I remind you that baby steps still count. They are still a step forward. And this is an aha moment on what it is that we want to do for ourselves, create for ourselves in the future, in order to protect our own emotional safety, security, and energy. Things are going to get a little bit bumpy, though, when the moon goes ahead and squares off, enters into the boxing ring with Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, let me just say that the square, although is a tension point, although is a conflict, what comes out of that is a resolution, is clarity. And the moon, of course, with our emotional wounds being ripped wide open by Chiron, is going to show us where it is that we have weak boundaries, where it is that we lack safety and security, where it is that we lack the discipline in order to give to ourselves the way that we are so easily giving to other people. Now, this illumination isn't going to feel very good. Let me just remind you that we are highly defensive, super protective, and I want you to pay attention to the triggers and the activations that are coming at you from your personal relationships, from the outside world, that activate the defense mechanism within you, and really ask yourself, what am I getting defensive about? What am I trying to protect? Why do I feel the need to boss up and be this defensive? What is the primary root cause? This is where the square, the conflict, the tension leads to clarity, leads to the next step forward on what it is that we need to do for ourselves to right this particular wrong. The moon is going to bump into Mars in such a way that would suggest that there's things coming at us in the outside realm that we don't have control over. Might come in the form of irritation, frustration, anger, animosity. We are definitely fired up. You can see that within yourself. You can see it within other people. You can see it on the greater, grander collective. Everybody is agitated. Everybody is tapping into the shadow element of the ugliness right now. And because all these planets are retrograde, we have some serious inner reflection to do. I just want to warn you that when the moon and Mars kind of meet up, that we could have a situation where we throw a tantrum, where we explode, or where this is happening in other people and we react from our unconscious ego, which just kind of adds fuel to the fire, creates a confrontation. Mercury is retrograde. There's miscommunications, confrontations, and misunderstandings happening left, right, and center. And this could be a very, I'm going to say, damaging and volatile state to be in. The best way that we could use this is to use our agitation, frustration, and our anger as a roadmap to see where it is that we've done ourselves a disservice in the past. I want you to keep in mind that anger is an aggressive form of sadness and vulnerability on where it is that we allowed certain things to happen to us that were very unfair. Keep in mind that Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, even our anger, is in Gemini energy. The twins, the dualistic, polarized, extreme points of view. So, of course, we have to throw ourselves in the extreme thoughts, the extreme feelings, the extremes actions, if you will, in order for us to find a balance point between the two. So let me just say that we have to be very aware on how this particular aggression is going to be manifested within us and how we are going to react, which again is from ego, or respond, which again is from higher self. It is always advisable to take a time out and to act as the observer from our higher selves to see where the lesson is, to see how it is we would have responded from ego in the past and where we have an opportunity to break that cycle by acting, responding from our higher selves, breaking the chain, breaking the pattern, rewriting the unconscious ego into the conscious ego, that we have control over the way that we respond and react to certain situations outside of ourselves. Now we're going to get a little bit of help when the moon goes ahead and sextiles, which is a beautiful energy, with Venus. Venus being the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and money. She is in Virgo energy, really trying to solve some of the problems that we've identified, especially where it is in our self-worth, our self-confidence, where we feel a little bit broken, busted up, where it is that we really do need to focus on taking care of ourselves first and foremost before, again, being of service to other people. Virgo energy is always wanting to be of service to other people, but tends to dismiss our own individual wants, needs, and desires, our own health and wellness, our own lack of being whole. And so Venus being in Virgo energy is very practical, very focused on the purpose of what we are doing for other people. But this particular energy is showing us what it is we have to do for ourselves first and foremost. So the moon being in Cancer energy, very nurturing, very much wanting to take care of, the needs of ourselves and people around us. This Venus energy is trying to illuminate where it is that, here's the boundary issue. Here's where we need to create better routines. Here's where we need to pour a little bit more into ourselves instead of pouring into other people. The moon shortly after goes ahead and sextiles, which is another beautiful aspect, with Uranus, the great awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. So again, the retrograde that Uranus is trying to show us is the inner realm, where it is that we have fear, that we're holding fear around losing certain things, especially in our physical realm. Now, that could mean losing our identity because our identity is too intertwined with our relationship or our job title or our, monetary status, our possessions, very much 3D realm stuff. This particular energy between the moon and Uranus is going to provide us with some clarity, with an aha moment. This is a visionary energy. It shows us where we need to be a little bit more independent in the pursuit of our own individual happiness, of our own individual, efforts to create safety and security within ourselves and within our physical realm, so that it doesn't matter what comes and goes in our lives. We still have a sense of self, a sense of safety and security within ourselves, knowing that we are not defined by the relationship, by the title, by the physical attachments that we've created here in this materialistic realm. The moon does bump into Mr. Saturn, Mr. Karma himself, in such a way that would suggest that something's coming at us from the outside realm that's really knocking the wind out of our sails, that's really having us tunnel visioned on the roles and responsibilities and commitments that we've made, and where it is that we feel the dread. We don't want to do this anymore, right? We feel the weight of the elements in which we've outgrown. We feel the, pressure to continue to, meet our commitments, meet our obligations, even though we don't want to do it anymore. We're almost dreadfully angry because it's sucking the life force energy out of us. And let me just say, because Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius, this is because at one point in time, we were leading our own lives with the people-pleasing qualities that many of us have. And we put our own thoughts, our own needs, our own wants, our own desires to the side to do what we thought other people were expecting from us. And I'm going to ask you, how has that turned out for you? This particular energy is going to come with a little bit of a weight, a heaviness, a little bit of a trigger. I want you to pay attention to some of the topics and themes that come up for you, especially where it's like, oh, I know I have to do it, but I really don't want to do it. I'm so done with this. I don't have the energy for it. I don't care about it anymore. I wish I never got into this in the first place. Pay attention to that kind of dialogue, those types of feelings. That's where change is needed the most. That's where liberation is needed the most. That is where independence and freedom is needed the most. And that it is what the universe is currently asking you to analyze and examine on how it is that you're going to bust free and break free from some of these constructs and restrictions in order to actually move forward. So Mercury goes ahead and bumps into Uranus. And let me just say, Mercury is the lower level intellect, while Uranus is the higher level intellect. Both of these planets are retrograde. One is in an air sign, that being Mercury retrograde in Libra, and one is in an earth sign, which is Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Now, air and earth are the two elements that are furthest away from each other. Air is all about the headspace, all about the thoughts, all about the processing, logic and practicality, which of course is shut down right now because Mercury is retrograde, pushing us to lean more into our emotions and our intuition to help guide us through this particular point in the path. While this earth energy is about doing, the present moment, action, the here and now. And this is why the air and earth energy are so hard to meet in the middle and are the furthest elements apart, because one is stuck in the head thinking about the action, and one is stuck in action without using the headspace to contemplate the long-term consequences of said actions. What I will say to you, this could come as a shock. This could come as a surprise. This could come in a turn of events that either has us tripping over a certain step or not thinking logically or practically about the steps needed about a certain course of action that we're contemplating taken. Or we could see a sudden shift in events where, you know what, a situation just took a turn. Now, whether it be for good or bad, that's still up for us to discern and to decide and to step back and explore. But it's almost like there is this shock of information or the shock of revelation or the shock of perspective or understanding that it's like, wow, that actually escalated quite quickly. I was not expecting that. Or this is a random turn of events. Or this opens up a brand new perspective. Or this changes the way that I've looked at things and understood things and the way that I feel about certain things. And let me just say, likely highly connected to relationships and to money matters. Why do I say that? Well, because Libran energy and Taurus energy are both ruled over by Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and money. And she is in Virgo energy, trying to examine where the problems exist and what is broken in order to return it back to a state of health, wholeness, and wellness. And huge focus right now with Mercury being retrograde in Libra on, old conversations, old understandings, old misunderstandings in personal relationships. And Uranus being retrograde in Taurus energy, again, trying to illuminate to us where it is that we may have some, I'm going to say, pretty strong attachments to letting go of some of the things that we know we need to let go of, especially where relationships are concerned. But we're just a little bit fearful on what that means, who we would be without those particular, people or titles or positions or whatever the case may be. So just understand that this is a lot of pressure in the mental plane, and just understand that there's going to be an aha moment But this aha moment could go either way at this point. We need some kind of unexpected jolt of energy, jolt of information, jolt of a situation turning itself around on a dime in order for us to see things from a different perspective than the perspective that we're already sitting in. We're going to wrap the day up, and shortly after this particular aspect, with the moon making a positive aspect with Mercury. So this is actually a good thing because this, little event or turnaround or information or jolt or surprise, whatever this case may be, is definitely working in our favor. It might not seem like that right away, but if you give yourself the time and space to sit back and kind of examine what this could mean for us and where this could actually take us, the moon in Cancer is feeling kind of good about it. Now, this does mean, because this moon and Mercury are working together, that our heart and our head are getting on the same page. Where there was once division, where there was once extreme polarized points of view, we're making a little bit of progress and headway to actually come together, to find that peace, to find that balance, to find that harmony that, of course, Mercury retrograde in Libra is all about. And for the moon in Cancer, we're just looking for a little bit of stability to make us feel safe, to make us feel secure, to make us feel comfortable, to make us feel like we're going to be okay. This tells me that whatever popped off earlier has a huge indicator at this point in time in the day that, you know what, this makes sense to us, not only in our mental plane, but it makes sense to us in our heart space. Our heart and our head are in agreement. Our logic and practicality and our intuition and emotional field are in agreement. And as we know, we need the heart and the head to be in agreement before we can engage the physical body to go ahead and take action to mirror in our external realm the aha moments, the revelations, the choice points, the decisions, the path, the direction that we've already kind of finalized in our inner realm.